Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Happy Friday. Hope all of you have a awesome weekend planned. Make sure you drop your weekend plans in the groups if possible. That'd be awesome just to see what you all are up to. Today we are doing another masterclass. So we've done 3 this week. I think that's going to be the norm moving forward. On Sunday I did a masterclass and I said I was going to do a poll early in the week. And I was going to plan a couple master classes, but Brittany is so awesome. So she had all these already planned. And I think the more the merrier for these. Make sure you post in the group as well if there's anything you want to see. If there's any questions you have, make sure you drop them in the comments down below as always. Other than that, sorry if I keep clearing my throat throughout the whole masterclass here. I've been doing it all morning. So apart from that, today's masterclass is about weight fluctuations. So scale fluctuations being such a big common thing that we've seen over the years of something that really bothers people typically and really kind of drives them nuts when they see the scale going up and down over and over again. But today, me and Brittany are going to explain to you all why it's really not a big deal at all. In fact, it's completely normal. And once you understand that weight fluctuations are a part of the game, are a part of losing weight, are also a part of gaining weight, are a part of building muscle, whatever, the scale just becomes a tool, just like cardio, okay? Like the scale and cardio are very similar. They're just tools to help you along your journey, but they should not be relied on, okay? And that's entirely what today will be about. And so, first and foremost, why does weight fluctuate daily? Like Brittany's really solid with this stuff. Like, why would you say you see fluctuations so often?
Yeah. So even like I have it lots where a client will like this happened hundreds of times because it happens to everyone. So let's say you are really solid for a week and you are tracking your calories and macros and like everything is spot on, or you do it for like a couple days and then you go on the scale and the scale is up a pound, let's say. People will be like, what? Like, I did everything right. And it doesn't have to do with you. It doesn't mean you're not making progress. It's just, especially as women, depending on our cycle, depending on just so many different factors, like just like sodium, just like carbs, like eating too late into the night and your food's not fully digested, like that weighs something. Every time you put something in your mouth, whether it be 0 calories, whether it be liquid, whether it be food, it weighs something. Your weight goes up. And so, just going back to just like people being like, what happened? Like I was perfect. Just because you were perfect on your diet doesn't mean the scale will necessarily go down. But there's so many factors, like I said, just like if let's say you were running late and on your meals throughout the day and you ate your last meal at 9 p.m. as opposed to 6 p.m. when you normally did, like that's like that food is still being digested, right? When you wake up. And so maybe the scale goes up 2 pounds and you're like, what the heck? You cannot gain 2 pounds overnight. Like it's just that your food hasn't fully digested and it weighs something on the scale there. So it doesn't mean you gain 2 pounds overnight.
Yeah. So there was like a nice spiel by Brittany on how that looks. And I'll just kind of reiterate a lot of that and agree with it as well. Like weight fluctuations on a daily basis, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. No. And one thing we've seen a lot as well is like when it comes to weighing yourself, right? You should weigh yourself. You should track your data, right? You 100% should. I'm not saying you shouldn't weigh yourself. Not weighing yourself at all is kind of similar to not tracking your food at all because you have no idea where you're at. You just, and you can go off how you look in the mirror, of course. Like there's nothing wrong with that. You can go off how you look and how you feel and things like that, and that's okay. But, the scale does provide somewhat of a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
I mean, it's data, right? It's like, this is how much things are looking right now in terms of weight, right? So it's not like a bad thing.
Yeah, because guys, I wanted to say, like, obviously if the scale's going up like 10 to 20 pounds, then that's weight we're putting on. And so we want to make sure that, you know what I mean? If that wasn't the goal or...
Yeah, like we don't want to... Exactly, like we don't want to sugarcoat that. Like if you are 180 pounds and then, 6 months go by and you're 200 pounds, yes, you put that on 100%. Like you have gained weight. Yeah, 100% you've gained weight. That's not just water weight and sodium at that point. Okay, that's an excessive amount of weight. You gain 20 pounds. That's months and months of poor habits. That's months and months of inconsistency that led to that point. So do understand that like you know, me and Brittany are never going to, you know, sugarcoat anything or hold back on things that are just like just facts.
But where
right?
we're
Like
talking
truth.
about fluctuations is like if there's like like I'd say like a 5 pound increment between 5 pounds of like,
That's right.
If you weighed in at 120, and honestly, if I'm on my cycle, it will go up to 125 even if I'm perfect, especially like the day of or the day before, because like there is stuff like that weighs, obviously like liquid that weighs something that's in my body, right? And so it weighs something on the scale. It doesn't just
exactly. I'm not a woman, so obviously, you know, and I've worked with so many women, so I over time have learned quite a bit about the menstrual cycle, and like I'm not a woman, so obviously I can't speak on behalf of how it feels, and I just have to rely on her telling me how horrible it is.
Yeah, for me, well, some months.
Some months, yeah, right.
So for me, and it depends on, everybody's different too. Some people have menstrual cycles and it doesn't really affect them, and some people do. And it's like, let's say they have PCOS and they're really bad.
That's right.
Like,
yeah.
and so I have clients
really
before
bad,
too who they can't even work out during their cycle, and so it really just depends on the person. But yeah, like it just really depends. But what we're talking about is fluctuations. So I'd say like, 5 pound increments, not like 20 pounds. Obviously that is weight gain.
The fluctuations too, they'll be higher, closer to that 5 pound mark, if you're heavier as well. Like the more weight you have on your frame to begin with, the higher the fluctuations will be, from gaining 5 pounds overnight to losing 5 pounds overnight, right? Depending on how things are looking. If you're tiny, right, the odds of the fluctuations being that high are more slim. But yeah, even Brittany, I have seen Brittany, like, she weighs herself daily, and I've seen Brittany hop on the scale and be up 4 or 5 pounds because of a rough menstrual cycle, or from additional sodium and water being held by the body, and that comes from, you know, an excessive cheat meal. For example, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, if you really had like a weekend where you kind of went off the rails a little bit and just had a good time with family, 100% the scale will be up. There's no doubt about it, right? The only way the scale, or the only way you can minimize fluctuations is if you had an outrageous amount of activity that day. So like, let's say you did a Thanksgiving dinner, you had a bunch of food, but let's say your family went on this big hike and you guys got like 40,000 steps that night. Well, that would mitigate the fluctuation because you were so active that night. So I'm not saying, but here's the thing is, I'm not saying to try to mitigate fluctuations because they're normal.
Yeah.
Like here's the best way to look at it. Like, let's say someone's on a weight loss journey and they're 200 pounds and they want to lose 20 pounds. They want to be 180. Okay. That's their goal. They want to be 180. Well, it's very rare actually to see just a 1 pound drop every week like this, like perfectly, with no fluctuations. It will never happen.
We've worked with hundreds, like probably like within the next year going on like probably over 1,000 clients, and like I've never seen a case where somebody in their journey, in their 16-week journey or 6-month journey or whatever it is, or your journey of losing weight, ever not fluctuate weight ever.
Yeah, no, because you got to think about it like this. Like, let's say you're losing 1 pound per week. Like, let's say that's how your trajectory is going week over week. And we'll get to data in a sec, which is really awesome because that's what's going to show you.
And we'll explain how to use the data.
That's right. To see where you're at and where you're going to wind up. But let's assume you're losing 1 pound per week. Okay, like you're on that trajectory. It's not like Monday you step on the scale, you're 0.2 pounds down. Tuesday you step on the scale, you're 0.4 pounds down. Wednesday you step on the scale, you're 0.6 pounds down, and you're like, yep, it's working. Every day I'm losing 0.2 pounds. Like, that's not how it works. Like, the way it will work is like Monday, because I said 200 to 180, so that's the example I'll use. It could be Monday you're 201, Tuesday you're 199, Wednesday you're 200, Thursday you're 201, Friday you're 199, Saturday you're 200, Sunday you're 199. Oh, you lost a pound, right? Because you can look at the 1 week, right?
Like.
That's how it will look every single time. And the more consistent and precise you are with your nutrition protocol, obviously, and the level of activity you're getting. I'm not going to talk about training with weight right now. Obviously, we're really big on strength training. Like me and Brittany, we're all for being in the gym, busting ass, all that good stuff. But just step count and nutrition alone will be enough to have you lose weight. And so that's what I'm going to kind of focus on here. Assuming your activity level and your nutrition is dialed in, like, the weight fluctuation should not bother you whatsoever. You should know subconsciously that I am doing what I need to do to get to where I need to be. And it's just a matter of time. You must be patient when it comes to losing weight. You also must be patient when it comes to building muscle as well. It takes time. And that's where fluctuations really bug people, is because, you know, they might start a weight loss journey and then in the first week, maybe they've only lost, they lost 1 pound, like I said, but there was multiple days where they were hovering around that initial starting weight or even a little bit above that. And they get so discouraged. There's no reason to be discouraged. Like, no, the only time that, I would be like, oh, hey, something's a little off here is if 3 to 6 months went by and I saw no progress. But at that point, you have to take a step back and audit your entire, like, what am I doing wrong here? Am I not tracking my food? Am I not getting enough steps in? Am I not, having enough, strenuous activity on a weekly basis? Like, is my digestion so off that, I'm really struggling to, get some of this food, in me, am I eating too much on the weekends? Am I having too many cheat meals? There's all these little factors that are in play, but I promise you, if you're actually in a calorie deficit based on how much weight you need to stay the same weight. So if you need 2,000 calories, you're eating 1,500 to 1,700 calories, give or take. Sorry, just something popped up there. You will lose weight, okay? And if you know for a fact that after a day of tracking you are being accurate and you're doing everything you need to do, the fluctuations should not bother you.
And
they shouldn't bother
Dylan's
you.
talking about somebody with a weight loss goal.
With a weight loss goal, yeah, exactly.
You can completely re-body comp and change like your entire physique like drastically and stay the same weight or roughly kind of around the same weight.
Yeah, so I'll talk about that as well. So yeah, I just want to make it clear as well, like, if you're seeing weight fluctuations, but your goal is to, you're fine with the weight that you're at. You're like, I'm fine with, and we work with lots of people like that too, where it's like, totally fine with the weight I'm at right now. You know what I mean? I just want to tone up, or which we talked about last masterclass, or I just want to, build muscle. I want to build strength. I want to be stronger.
But I don't want to go into like
but
a huge...
I don't really care about losing weight. I like the weight that I'm at. That's fine. There will be fluctuations associated with that as well. But just understand that if your goal is to maintain, build muscle, build strength, and kind of change your physique entirely, fluctuations, again, should not bother you. Assuming that you're doing what you need to do. That is very, very important. If you are not following something structured, if you have no idea what you're kind of doing or how to approach your goals, and if you're kind of just like, freeballing it, estimating and things like that, then the weight fluctuations, are like you're not really getting where you need to go. Like, that's different. So like I gave the example of someone losing 20 pounds from 200 to 180. They'll see fluctuations on a daily basis, but let's assume there's one person A, who's doing everything they need to do, and then person B, who's kind of just like estimating, not having a structure, kind of doing things half-assed. Person A will fluctuate throughout the week, and so will person B, but person A, week after week after week after week, will see 1 to 2 pounds off the scale, no doubt about it. And they will see their entire body image start to change because they are losing weight actively, and there's data to support that, okay? But person B, right, doing whatever they want, estimating, not having structure, their weight will fluctuate daily as well, but they will stay the same weight. Okay, like it will be like 200, 201, 199, 200, 201, 199 all the time, never stops. And then months will go by and they'll be like, why can't I lose weight? I just can't lose weight. There's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. I promise you, okay? It's just a consistency and a structure problem. It really is that simple. Fitness doesn't need to, I want to make something clear too before, sorry, I'm taking your spotlight. Fitness does not have to be complicated. In fact, it shouldn't be complicated, okay? Like, there's a lot of people out there who will say, this food will do this, or you have to take this fat burning cocktail, or if you do this, your appetite will be it's like all that actually matters, okay? You just block out the noise and understand that all that actually matters is consistency and having structure that works for you and your schedule. That's it, okay? And so I'm trying, hopefully this is kind of like getting to a point where you guys are understanding that fluctuations on the scale are like a very, 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 very tiny problem. It's not even a problem at all. It's like pretty much negligible. It's not even a problem.
It's normal.
It's very normal.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And so how I like to track my progress and how I get my clients to track their progress is my preference is that people weigh daily, like weigh on the scale daily. It's very important to note the only accurate time to weigh yourself on the scale is in the morning, as soon as you wake up, after using the washroom if you can. That is the only accurate reading. If you go onto the scale, even after drinking a coffee, even after having your first meal, it will be up because that food and liquid weighs something. and obviously you've woken up from, you know, an 8-hour or whatever, hopefully sleep. So that's the only time you should weigh. If you weigh yourself at night or any other time of the day, it won't be accurate. It will be up from what it actually is. And so that's number one. I like to weigh daily because you take the weekly average. So for example, if you're only weighing on Sunday, you miss all the other data from the other mornings. And like Dylan said, it's always going to fluctuate. But let's say you hit your lowest weight that week on the Wednesday and you didn't know, but you were going to start your cycle on the Sunday. And then so it jumped up and you're like, I gained 3 pounds, but you didn't realize that you actually hit your lowest weight on the Wednesday.
That's right. That's very important.
That's why I like to weigh daily. Some people, like, there is some people obviously who come in, maybe they have like an obsession with the scale. Maybe in that case, I wouldn't recommend it, at least to start out, until we get that mindset right. But for people who are okay, it's actually a good tool. And I've seen it before where clients are like, wow, Brittany, actually, this is great because I saw on Wednesday or Thursday, I actually hit my lowest weight. So it makes sense. And I actually started my cycle, or we had a big cheat on Saturday night. So, or we went out to eat or whatever. And so it jumped up by 3 pounds, but it gives me good data and I understand, and it makes the fluctuations less scary.
Yeah, that was really awesome. And she's totally right. Weighing daily is so crucial for understanding or having a better relationship with the scale. Now, I know there are people, like Brittany said, who are obsessed with the scale where they do weigh all the time. Yeah. But like they'll weigh in the morning, in the middle of the day, at night, and they'll be like, I gained 5 pounds all day. And it's like, yeah, well, you ate food. Obviously, when you eat food, there's weight to the food, right? You're going to, you know what I mean? You're obviously going to, like, if I weigh myself right now and then I go weigh myself tonight, I'll weigh more tonight. Like 100%, and there's no issues with that because I eat food today, right? I have my food. I have food in my stomach.
It's just about understanding that, and if you have no knowledge on that, obviously that's scary, and you're like, how do I weigh 5 pounds up from this morning when at night and stuff like that? So it's just about creating that knowledge and just understanding the fluctuations and actually how much the scale can fluctuate throughout the day and throughout the week.
Absolutely, and I just want to add on one more thing that's something that's super important about this is like, when you weigh yourself daily, right? I'm going to use this comparison again because it's really good. The scale and doing cardio, okay, they're like very similar in sort of how they are as tools, and I'll explain.
Yeah.
So you can have someone who's so obsessed with the scale where they're just like, the number freaks them out every day. They're looking at it. They're like, I can't believe I need to lose weight now. They need the patience is out the window. Like they're flipping out about it. And then there's also people who go view cardio as the same. They're like, I have to do an hour of cardio. I have to do more cardio. I have to do more cardio. I'm not going to lose any weight if I don't do more cardio. But in reality, all you have to do is be this laid back. Ready? Like you step on the scale in the morning. Like, you know, you're doing what you need to do, right? Your nutrition and training is where it needs to be, your activity, all those things that I mentioned. You step on the scale and you go, okay, I'm 125. Put it down. Next day, okay, I'm 124. Put it down, right? Like that's how I look at the scale, and it took me years, of course. Like when I was 14 years old, I didn't know much about fitness, right? I was just getting into the gym, right? I didn't just start having all this knowledge. Like I had to learn and study and do. Like there was years of studying.
There was probably definitely times where both me and you as new beginners, when we were, you know, the scale bugged us or we didn't understand. I'm gonna go let our dog out.
We gave each other the look. I'll keep this going for about 2 minutes. One of our bulldogs just has to go outside. She's going absolutely nuts. Anyways, I'll kind of keep going on that real quick before Brittany returns. And so, yeah, you should look at the scale and you should look at cardio the exact same way. So I mentioned how you should build the mindset around, does she need to go outside? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So you need to build the mindset around viewing the scale as just a number. It's not, it's just a number. It shouldn't dictate how you feel. You know, it shouldn't dictate how your day is going to go. If you know in your head that you're doing everything you can, and you really, really know you're doing everything you can to get to where you need to go, then the number on the scale shouldn't bother you at all. So it should be like Monday, 125, like I said, Tuesday, 124, no worries, track it, done, that's it. It should have no impact on your day. And the same goes with cardio, right? Like let's say you're doing 30 minutes of cardio a day. And you're doing everything you need to do, and you know that. When you do your cardio, it should be like, I did my 30 minutes of cardio, great, I feel good, track it, done. That's it. That's why I'm saying cardio and the scale are very similar in that regard, because a lot of people obsess over both of them. They obsess over the scale, they obsess over cardio, thinking that doing more cardio is going to lead to better results, and thinking that obsessively weighing themselves is going to somehow, you know, improve their fat loss capabilities, and it's just not the case. Okay. So anyways,
I would say too, like if you're at the point where it would dictate your day on where you're weighing on the scale, like if you weighed in at 135, let's say, like you were happy at 135 or lower and you waited at 136 and it completely wreaked havoc on your day, I would put the scale away, because that's not worth like ruining a day and potentially like having an entire bad day about just that.
Until your mindset.
That's a mindset, and that's becoming definitely obsessive. And I would just put the scale away in that case, and then just focus on my mindset.
Yeah.
And I'd focus on learning how to like accurately track and strength train and such, because that would be just kind of going overboard for sure.
Right. So Brittany's right. Like there's certain things that require a mindset shift in order to get used to it. Like it's easier. I say this all the time. It's easier said than done, right? It's easy for me to sit here. It's easy for two fitness professionals to sit here and say, this is how it's done, right? Obviously. But for someone watching this who's newer to this, right? Or someone watching this who, maybe struggles on weekends or, little intricacies like that, I promise you it will take time to build the mindset. It will not happen overnight, okay? And like I said, when I first started, when I was 14, it took me about, I think I didn't get to like my first actual successful like deficit where I was like quite lean and I was happy with it till I was like pretty much almost in my last year of high school. So it was like 2 or 3 years, right? It was 17, I think. So I was about 3 years. 2.5, 3 years, give or take. Like it took me that long to be like dialed in with nutrition and understand what was going in my body. It took me 3 years, right? And I was just going off back then. So this was 14 years ago. The information was online. Like it was still like online existed, internet existed, but I had to dig for it. There was really no one saying like, this is what is right. This is what is wrong. The information, you had to kind of know people. You had to like know people at the gym. You had to trust what they said. You had to do a lot of digging. You had to read books. Like I had to read books. I had to read PDFs that I would buy. Like I would, use some of the money I get at the movie theater and just learn from other, bodybuilders and like that was the basis of all my knowledge from day one, learning, you know what I mean? And so what I'm saying is it took me 2 to 3 years of learning to finally be like, oh, like this is how it's done, right? Like this is the knowledge I need, right? And this is the knowledge necessary to actually take this to where I want to go, right? And so just understand, like that's how it was. And Gabby says, as someone who's lost 100 pounds and is currently happy with my current weight, I definitely see the biggest fluctuations around my period. Yeah, plus minus 5 pounds every month, systematically.
I'm the 100%. Exact same way.
That's right. That's totally right, Gabby. Yeah, thanks for sharing that as well. So like Brittany said, same thing, right? Both of you have a very similar sort of weight fluctuation pattern when you guys get your menstrual cycles,
and
right? So
for
it's very
me,
normal.
for me now, it's like, but I've built that habit, right? It wasn't always like that. Like for me now, if, I'm on my cycle and it jumps up by 5 pounds, let's say, it doesn't bother me because I know and I learned that. But I'm sure even Brittany, like 5 years ago, if I would have jumped on the scale and saw that, I wouldn't have understood it, or I would have been still in that place where my mindset wasn't built around it and it would have bugged me, right? And so, again, like Dylan said, it's something that you have to, it's almost like with fitness, everyone's on their own journey and you have to kind of just learn those things over time and they become better. But I do understand, especially for like a beginner coming into it, and then they use they're like, okay, I'm going to start weighing myself. And then at first they're like scared and they're like, why is this fluctuating so much? Why me? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, just know that like it just takes time, and like I said, the scale is a great tool, especially if you're able to do like the weighing daily in the morning on an empty stomach. I find it a good tool. It works for a lot of people, but where I wouldn't suggest it is if you're obsessed over the scale, then I would put it away, work on your mindset, and then revisit that at another time. That's
exactly. Nailed it.
Some other things that you can track your progress with is obviously photos is number one. Like that's where we're going to see lots of progress is weekly check-in photos. What I suggest with that is same thing with the scale, is taking those fasted every time you take them, because let's say you took one set of photos fasted and then the other at 5 p.m. Maybe stomach is a little bit out a little bit more because you have food in your stomach, right? And so just taking those at the same time every time you take them, that's a weekly thing. Measurements. So measurements won't be taken weekly because you're not going to see the measurement
measurements
data.
are so tedious.
I would say like a month to 6 to 8 weeks. I would take measurements.
Measurements are cool to take because you get data on like your own body, but I was never like a big measurements guy. like myself, like for our clients, measurements are not like mandatory. Like it's more like an optional thing. But a lot of
the
people
photos are the biggest thing.
But there's tons of people that love to see their biceps growing or their waist shrinking or something like that.
But just know with the measurements, you don't take those weekly. You won't see that progress.
Yeah, you're not going to see weekly. Yeah,
I would just suggest like a month, 6 to 8 weeks every
that's
6 to 8 weeks is what I would recommend.
100%.
So combining all those metrics and using the scale as a tool, and I want to also say to you guys is like, especially if you have a body recomp or you're wanting to build some muscle, you're not necessarily going to look and feel your best at a lower weight. And so so I'm roughly around 120. Let's say I get down to 115. I would definitely be really, really lean at that amount, and I wouldn't necessarily like how I looked then versus at 120, if that makes sense. And so just realizing that too, and if you build muscle, like the scale may go up a little bit. So it's just like, and maybe you like your look better. So it's not necessarily lower number equals your, best physique ever type of thing. So
right.
Always understanding that as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's different for everyone depending on where you're at and what your goals are, obviously.
That's right. Other than that, like I kind of went over the importance to just want to revisit this quick before we end things off here is you got to remember the importance of just your whole like protocol, whatever that is for you. Okay. Whether it's your own or whether it's from us, you need to stress the importance of just following the plan, being consistent, doing what you need to do day in and day out, okay? Ultimately, there's no better plan than just executing, and that's going to avoid scale fluctuations being such a burden on you and your mindset. Because like I said, I want to revisit this again because it's so crucial. Weight fluctuations will drive you insane if you're not doing what you need to do, because they will happen all the time and you will not see any like tangible progress. And so the key is understanding that your plan is in place, you have structure, you're doing everything you need to do to get to where you need to go. That is a fact. Like, it's a whole lifestyle change because it's all new to you. It should feel uncomfortable, by the way. And then from there, the scale just becomes a tool. Over time, of course, not overnight, but over time, the scale just becomes a tool that gives you your data on how much you weigh. You can track it, and you can go from there, just like cardio, right? So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say there.
I just want to make sure that there's no comments.
Yeah, no, of course, not a problem at all. No problem if not.
No, I think we're good.
I think we're good too.
Okay, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you have any questions about, we could go on and on about the scale
Yeah, we
fluctuations.
can forever, yeah.
But just remember that you're on your own journey, and if you ever have any questions about scale fluctuations, message us, and we'll be sure to give you our knowledge on it. And yeah, you got this. So make sure into the weekend you are still staying on track. It's easy to go off track on the weekends.
Yeah.
So stay on track with everything, like your workouts, your meal plan, your goals don't stop on the weekends. And we'll be back next week with some more masterclasses.
Absolutely. I hope you all have an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, like Brittany said, and we will all chat soon.
Bye, guys.
See ya.